Alright, this is kind of a test for my computer. So I verified the files through Steam, which you can't see, but it said it was verified, which means, well, no, sorry, it said one file was not working and it reinstalled that file, and I played it for about an hour just doing exploration, not actually like the story for it. And it seemed to be fine, so I'm gonna see if it's OBS, and if it's OBS, well then maybe it's my video capture card, I don't know. So let's, I guess, see. Dad said not to play Vegas because of the program, since it said something about data. But we're going to, because I'm gonna figure this out. I mean, it didn't crash once I verified all the files. Like, verified the integrity of like, how stable they all are. Apparently, one of them wasn't all there, so yeah, I need to bring them in and re-download it. Have all the files, so hopefully this fixes it. So I got to Dr. Mobius's lair. Mobius. There, I'll be a demigod. How about that? For the rest, for this, I'll be a demigod. Now I have my recording on the side. If it turns out it's OBS, since I can only get about 30 minutes out of it, I'm gonna make 15-minute episodes.
Uh-oh.
Anyways, we're near the end of this one. I sort of want to end Fallout soon. Like, end Fallout New Vegas.
Was that all?
I like New Vegas, but it's giving me lots of problems and not allowing me to finish it.
Ready, steady, fighty.
Finished all the tests, and everything seemed fine. I'm good. I think it was the video capture card, or not the video capture, the file of verification integrity on Steam. So I guess I was missing a file or something like that. Anyways, here it is. Here's Dr. Mobius. Later, or the forbidden zone.
Bad guys dealt with. Sneaking done. Fighting now. Cessation of hostilities complete. This one looks pretty tough.
Please put on your goggles and take your rad-X now. The X-42 giant robo-scorpion is alive! Awaken my pet! Initiate your search and destroy protocol in the name of all that is MOBIUS! An intruder is here. You can't afford. This is a pre-recorded attack message indicating my desire to commit violence on you. This is a
Fighting over.
All in the name of MOBIUS.
Do you like me?
Electrons attached to the neutron neutron's attached to the meson's connected to the proton. Oh, hello there. You are there, aren't you? Forgive my confusion. So hard to tell these days. You seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing you're here for your brain, perhaps? It's just up there. Such a nice brain, young, very bright. Little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, right FOV coon? Ah, that's it. You're coming into focus nicely. Depth perception is a problem with this old monitor of mine. Went black a while ago. That's old age for you. Should look at getting the visual nerves reattached. Would you care for a mentat? I love mentats. Delicious and smarty. I have all sorts of amazingly science-erific thoughts and ideas when those chalky tablets are zipping through my biogel. I forget them all not long after, though, especially with the data constipating my memory core. Afraid binary streams might shoot out my chassis. Had to start using the dome floor and walls here to inscribe equations, although I've somewhat lost track. Really? That implies preconceived notions, theories, and a hypothesis about this meeting? Please extrapolate. What was I supposed to be like? After all, it might be worth a cognitive realignment if your theoretical Mobius is better than I. Oh, a variety of reasons. You're something of a homily. Anomaly? You're really quite special, and not in the cranially challenged way. You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever performed here at Big Mountain. A victim of your own success, as it were. If you were to go back with what your brain knows about the procedure, well, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here. Can't have brains moving around of their own volition. Do you? And does it even want to go back with you? Maybe you should ask it. It's quite independent, has all manner of opinions. Tell you what, I'll leave it up to your brain. If it wants to go, then fine. If not, well, you should respect its wishes. Indeed. The goodbye part of our little chat, then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
Not bad.
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been? Crawling through pits of radioactive muck again? Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie?
Why are you such a dick? There's no need to be sarcastic. Reading your own brain is slightly unfair.
Yes, well, believe me, the opposite is equally true. Good Lord, have you bathed at all since they pulled me out of you?
It reminds me of Wheatley from Portal. Yes, because running around a crater full of star science experiments, hygiene is the top priority.
Well, I see sarcasm hasn't eluded you. Fine, perhaps now isn't the best time, but it's the principle of the thing. Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, a, quote, dick, unquote, as if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think I enjoyed that little moment? Well, maybe next time you... I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you.
Oh, good things. What about cool breeze on your cheek? The smell of food, love. See your point. What can I make this first?
If you want me back, we need... First, showers!
Okay.
Second, regular checkups. Regular, mind you, and from a reputable doctor. Third, you need to listen to me more than your hormonal choir and genitalian orchestra. Promise me that, and you've got a deal. Really? I didn't expect you to actually agree to that. I'm afraid that was a bit of a bluff, really. I'm not going with you. Well, certainly there might be some things I miss about being ambulatory. We have seen some incredible sights, haven't we? Jason Bright and his followers launching into the vast unknown. But still, given the tremendous, potentially life-ending peril that went along with those... Yes, I'd rather stay here. I suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it?
So Rand, you can't feel what I feel, and I can't think the way you think. Yeah, but you didn't think that, huh?
Indeed, quite the conundrum. How do you suppose we resolve it?
I think we have to trust each other, acknowledge that we aren't complete if we're separated.
I suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. there's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us.
So what do you say, Brain? Join me for more wild adventures?
Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. MOBIUS doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share. And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead. Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we save the day. All right, what's the plan?
We'll make them. Let's go. I'll handle the brains. You stay here. You'll be more useful if I can.
Right! Look out, think tank! This brain is... I suppose now that we're reunited, you'll want to fill your torso up with those other meaty parts the think tank took from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now that I'm with you, the Sync's autodock can plug them back in no problem. Right then, off with...
Actually, they don't have to sign it. Let's be honest. Holy mentats! Sorry.
I'm running out of floor space.
I'm MOBIUS. I like MOBIUS. MOBIUS is so nice. Man.
I do so love integers.
My brain. So, if they got their hands on it, they would be able to use it against me instead. Wasteland. I don't even want to think what we're doing. Really promise some horrible future like a matador.
I'm running out of floor space for my calculations.
My brain. Yes, again. I also really want to see if I can help about what we're about to do. I don't know, maybe we can do the same. Maybe
I do so love integers.
slower.
Electrons attached to the neutron attached to the meson.
He's happy tonight. He's not. Wait.
Oh, I hypothesize after the indignant frequencies my receptors had recepted, such a partnership-based conclusion would be low on the likely scale. If I recall, I had a plan that was working, whatever it was. I don't think it reached fruition. I would recall fruit if it had happened. I wasn't trying to kill them, just keep them out of trouble. What was that plan? Blast! I probably wrote it down on the floor somewhere. That will be difficult. It would be like fighting 5 scaled-down versions of me that have better depth perception. And they have an arsenal of vivisectors, brainial beams, and a rather nasty ray that can make your atoms do a happy dance. If you could survive those highly improbable odds and ends, then deceasing them is definitely an option. Although I doubt killing them would do anything except make you feel better. Or let you brag to other humans about your primal violentness. Well, you could try and appeal to their humanity. That's a tired cliche. And really, when they were humans, they weren't. Well, if you're determined to go down that road, so be it. They will undoubtedly switch off the pacification field when you return. Why, of course you can. I am well versed in the science of sharing. Well, when not chemmed out of my sphere. I'm having the most peculiar feeling of déjà vu right now. That's French for, déjà vu, I believe. Have we met before? The ghosts aren't real? That changes everything. Why, I can save my computing power for other... Please be my guest. The receptor is there, and the side-switching wobbly bob, just turn that. Good. Oh, yes, that feels wonderful. This is even better than my afternoon mentats break. Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Psycho when I sent that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when I am. Then, watch out! So many chems, such varieties. Whenever I take mentats, I can feel my entire chassis breathe like a big spherical lung. As for the Psycho, sometimes get the chem dispositories in my tank all switched up. Go in the wrong tube. Still, served its purpose.
You're my best friend forever.
There's a file there. That's the same tank balcony that way I can go into the house. Alright. I'm gonna go these fast and quickly before we end Old World Blues. So Dr. MOBIUS.
Might I be of service, sir?
You'll see, baby. I'm the original, certified, rarefied, testified GS-2000 Biological Research Station. Yes, sir. You got seats? Oh. What's the haps? Right. Right.
The Robo Scorpion.
Oh, my. Adjusting lights for maximum concentration levels.
Thanks for preparing to finish this once and for all. Right. Hi, buddy.
The lobotomite returns. Our As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The courier had scoured much of the Big Empty, although secrets still remained in the crater's depths. Perhaps that was for the best, however. Curiosity, while sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be equally dangerous.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him overmuch. Once the rush of mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The sink atop the dome gained a frontier town feel with the few modules installed. They shouted at each other across the HQ occasionally, either threatening each other or announcing a discovery. It kept things lively. Secretly, the Sync Central Intelligence Unit was relieved that not all of the personality chips had been found. What was there was enough.
The Biological Research Station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
Blind old Jefferson, with sounds the courier brought him, created a symphonic counter-frequency that saved Big Mountain from sonic invasion in 2910. If you didn't hear about it, good.
As the courier ran through the X-8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, they realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was. This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 felt spent, having repeatedly upgraded the stealth suit until it could upgrade it no more. It felt warm, fulfilled, and a bit sluggish. It realized not long after the stealth suit had left it without so much as a note on the nightstand. So the infiltration program sent out robo-brains into the wastes, looking for its wayward technology. It eventually found Repcon HQ and set up a new research center, testing and murdering fiends who kept breaking into the facility.
The courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the courier's brain was more clever than most.
The think tank basement, filled with the lobotomized robotical frames of the doctors. now served as a graveyard. The monitors had recorded the battle in its entirety, including the think tank's final, shrill, terrified screams, whimpers, and pleas for mercy. They broadcast these humiliating last moments as a warning to anyone approaching the perimeter that other smarty pants were not welcome. The courier was the inheritor of the Big Empty, and there was room for only one will in the halls of the think tank dome.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal Ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The Sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.
The brain is back in your body, but some of the advanced technology still remains. Your head still cannot be crippled, but you're only 10% more resistant to vision. Surprisingly, your damage threshold has improved by 10, minimum 1%. You've acquired the Big Mountain Transportal Ponder. It's capable of transporting you into the Mojave Wasteland and Big Mountain. Return to Mojave or go back to Big Mountain from the Mojave, simply equip the transponder as dueling weapon.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Oh, yeah!
Discomfort. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, oh.
Move along.
Road, one of my favorite DLCs in any Fallout games. Sorry. Distracted. I have magnets, very hard magnets. For shapes and stuff. Yeah. This is actually sweet. I like moves here. Oh, really? I have to come back here. them all. Alright, anyway, it's up where we go to where we have to go. It'll keep the fans wander on us.
We haven't seen anybody in a while. Maybe the monsters have stealth suits too.
That prick Benny had it coming.
People say Mr. House hasn't been... Now, what can I...
A package courier found shot in the head near Good Springs has reportedly regained consciousness and made a full recovery. Now that's the delivery service you can count on. One more story for you. Scavengers report hulking individuals moving around the valley after dusk, but have been unable to identify them due to low visibility.
Like I always say, a polite society is an armed society.
Yeah, true. John, Joe, Joanne. I don't understand.
My love for you is too strong. And now that King Cole reminding us what really matters with love me as though there's no tomorrow. Because in New Vegas, hey, you never know.
Embrace the Mantis King. Where this way. Take a new crate.
welcome, sir or madam. Come.
Let's start this, shall we? Official, I think I fixed my computer. This lasted an hour and a half. Or no, sorry. Yeah, an hour and a half. But I was playing half an hour before, half an hour before I started recording. Without further ado.
You're listening.
Hallelujah! It was one of the hardest DLCs in the game. I think we're fully prepared. I'm gonna play with God mode probably. Just so we can have fun, you know? This close early on in the game. Dun, 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 dun.